we go.
There's the
There.
shirt.
So let's just jump right into it. First and foremost, thank you for sponsoring Strength Addicts. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You know, I saw what you do as well as a female bodybuilding channel, and you guys are out there got a great reach. And so, yeah, I'm a proud sponsor of both Strength Addicts and as well female bodybuilding channel with AJ and JB.
Absolutely. And I really like to work with people that are not easily intimidated. I know that I have a lot of supporters and a lot of haters out there. So I really appreciate you not being a frail gentleman and being someone strong in your convictions. And those are the kind of people that I like to work with.
No problem. I mean, I'm happy to help. Like I said, based on your reach and as well as the reach of female bodybuilding channel, which I don't understand why more people aren't supporting them with everything that they do, as well as yourself as well. I mean, you're already well established, especially with Titan Medical. So, I mean, yeah, it was an easy fit there.
But you got to get me some of the Amazon FitMag shirts too, so I can rock those out too. And I saw
Hey,
them out, so
no problem. Hey, so let me get this shout out. You know, these shirts are brought to you by Harlan's Customs, Harlan Elite Customs. Okay.
very
And so, you know, the part owner of Harlan Elite Customs is Teresa Avancic. So if you buy shirts from Harlan Elite Customs, it also helps out her as a competitor as well. So that's the reason, because everything is, you know, got a connection to, you know, I do everything very purposely as a can. So yeah, big shout out to them who, I got some hoodies coming and shirts. So yeah, give me your size and yeah, I'll make sure you get one.
Let
For
me tell
sure.
you about Teresa. She is one of the hardest working competitors.
Mm-hmm.
She's so active. Her and her husband Jeff with their gym,
Yep.
promoting Muscular Women, promoting shows, all the good things about women's bodybuilding she possesses. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think women's
Person.
strength has done so much also.
Beautiful person, and everybody talks about her physique, but her eyes, I mean, man, you know, it's kind of like trying to look into the sun. You can't do it for an extended period of time. Beautiful person, beautiful woman. Getting ready for the Olympia. Wish her all the best. And you know, when you talk in the world of like the NCAA name, image, and likeness, she was the first Olympian to give me her name, image, and likeness on the cover of Amazon's, and I never will forget her for that. Because that helped put me on the map. You know, as well as Rashana Boswell. You know, she gave me her name, image, and likeness, and she's on the cover of Amazon's as well. Both of them in the July and September cover. And then the inaugural. Let me talk about this logo real quick. So you
Sure.
see this logo? So that
Mhm.
logo has a deep meaning. And the person that is on there, I call her Teresa IFBB Women's Physique Pro, Teresa Moda. And so when you see name, image, and likeness again, you know, that's her logo, and that's how it all came to be. And so, and she was on the inaugural cover. So when these ladies, you know, lend their name, image, and likeness, if I'm making money off of their image, which I am because I'm selling in a magazine and whatnot, these ladies deserve to be paid. And so that's one of the biggest things I promote as well. I do paid shoots, but as you read in the latest article of Amazon's in the September issue, not everybody gets paid. But, you know, I'm well in deep, you know, with this thing. So, you know,
But
got to keep it going.
yeah, but the thing is, though, I got to be honest with you. Also, is that I'm always honest, but you're a very, very good photographer, and you offer a lot of exposure, and like you said, you do pay for shoots, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like you know, having a print magazine. I mean, there's a website and there's memberships there, but to actually have a print magazine in 2022 and make it work, I mean, you got to really be on your A game with business.
Oh yeah, you know that's one of the things because when I was first thinking about getting it out there, it's like, hey, nobody buys print anymore. So if you come out online and then sell the print in a later edition or smaller numbers, 20 copies, 25 copies, see how it does, and then they can always reorder. But yeah, primarily online, and it's bi-monthly, and so every other month it comes out. So I got like 5 covers a year. The first one was in May, like I said, with Teresa Moda, BB Women's Physique Pro. That was the first one, and then of course July came, and there was Teresa Avancic. Timing was great because she had just won the
Hmm.
Indy Pro.
I'm sorry, Glenn.
Mm.
Becky Short's in here, and Becky has a fantastic physique, and
Mm-hmm.
she's very muscular, very feminine, but just, I mean, just beautiful flowing muscle. Just, and we were supposed to do the interview,
Right.
and because of everything with the industry, I'm going to see if we can do it next week. Because you know, right now Strength Addicts is on fire, and
Mm-hmm.
so and some people, but I want to get her on here, and I would love for you guys to talk. There's so many people. Steve Weingarten was in here. I don't know if he's still in here or not. There's a figure competitor here in Louisville who I've not met,
Mm-hmm.
but does some amazing photos. Her name is Sarah Hasner, and I mean, again, you think figure. Usually when you think muscular women, you think women's physique, women's bodybuilding, but some
Right.
figure competitors, they take shots in a certain kind of way where it could appeal to those that like female muscle.
Well, here's the thing. I think they all appeal, and that was the whole premise of the magazine. Everybody, the one category that was getting all the shade, of course, is women's bodybuilding and women's physique. Let's be clear. But I love all the categories, and just because I'm shooting, the primary focus is women's bodybuilding, I don't stop shooting bikinis or wellness. That would be stupid. But the thing about it is to bring about everybody's awareness to see this, and then there's some powerlifters out there. I mean, beautiful women that people have seen that are killing it in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
and it's trying to put them on this platform out there. But yeah, figure wellness, you know, fitness, I
And
mean, all
yeah,
of
when we first talked on the phone,
them.
we talked for I think 2 hours or something. And the thing, I'm trying not to interrupt you, but I just got to throw this in here
Mm-hmm.
because your words are supported by actions. Talk to
Mm-hmm.
us about Shaped by Sarah. I mean,
Oh, hey, well, you know, um, she was one of the first athletes I sponsored officially in writing that I wrote a contract with. And she reached out to me initially, and I was like, man, why is nobody shooting this girl? And so at the time, she was in Greenville, North Carolina, which is 2 hours to me. So she literally would commute sometimes as much as 3 times a month, coming from Greenville, 4 hour turnaround to shoot with me. And the more I shot, and everybody saw her, like, dang, who's this? And she blew up. And I knew that she would. So she's very special to me. Very special person. She's a bikini competitor. I could go on and on about Sarah.
and she speaks so highly about you. It's so interesting because that's I often have a bridge between sponsors, and she's the
Yeah,
bridge.
yeah.
And you amazing work, and she's all over Titan Medical. I mean, she does fantastic work. It's a really nice.
I feel the same way about her. But the thing about it, when I was getting ready to renew her contract, and I said, this is a pretty thick contract. I was, she had a good contract. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And I was glad to do it to help her, on her journey. She's in pursuit of the pro card, and she's going to do great. And the thing about it, and I sent her the contract, and I was waiting. I didn't hear nothing. I said, well, dang, what's going on? Maybe something she just moved to Florida and stuff. So she hits me back on a text, and she says, hey, do you know who Titan Medical is? And I said, Titan Medical? I said, Sarah, that's them. That's the guys that are out there doing it. And next thing you know, I said, well, I can't compete with those guys. I said, yeah, by all means, you need to jump on that. And, she's a Titan girl now, tried and true. She's blowing up. And every time I see her, I'm like, it's amazing. I hate that she moved to Florida, but it is what it is. But yeah, tell Titan Medical they're welcome. That's all.
For sure. But that's what I'm talking about. You are a businessman, you are a photographer, but you're trying to help these competitors. And so when
Yes, I
she
am.
Titan, you're like, wow, that's the big leagues.
Right.
You're right. And I think that's so important because you always hear this kind of lip service about we're for the competitors, but are you really? But you really are. And so I think that really says a lot.
There are so many people out there, so many competitors that people are sleeping on. And so they know the big names, Teresa Vancic, Rashana Boswell, but they started somewhere too. Somebody saw them, shot them, and next thing you know, sky's the limit. So if I do a photo shoot with a competitor, I can guarantee you one thing: you're gonna get all the attention you want and all the attention you don't want. But there's that big sponsor that's gonna look and is gonna notice you, such as Titan Medical, and you're off and running. Because how else are they gonna see you unless you're out there? Titan, Gaspari, all how are they going to see you? You're an
But
amateur.
But you're getting there too, and the magazine's getting there, the website's getting there. I mean, you're by no means small potatoes at all.
Well,
But
you know, I'm a small shark. Put it that way.
you're getting there. You're getting there, and I think it's going to take you a little bit longer, only because, you're your own man. You're not going to, like, kowtow. You're not going to bow your head. You're not going to compromise your vision. So it's going to take you a little bit longer, but when you get there, it's going to be yours. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I got a lot invested in it. My tax preparer showed me my profit and loss statement the other day. I was like, whoa, yeah, that's a lot. But I mean, so I'm blessed and I'm thankful because, the thing about entrepreneurship and owning your own is nothing like it. And this, Amazon's fitness magazine is being fueled and fostered obviously from GPSphotoandvideo.com, which is an LLC. That's my parent, that's my main company as far as photography. And so it's just like having a slice of apple pie. I take slices off of GPS to feed the baby that is Amazon's fitness magazine. So yeah, but
That's
going there
forever,
small and
right?
lethal, and we'll go from there. 6 months into it, and got to keep it growing and keep it going.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you something. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the interview to go sideways or south or whatever the saying is, but I want, one thing that I think that would be very, very powerful, and I would love to clip it or do something with it. What advice could you give to female competitors that, maybe are about to make a deal? Because here's the thing. I know from talking to you
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes you might approach someone you want to work with a very, very reasonable deal,
Mm-hmm.
maybe generous deal. But then the counteroffer is so outrageous that it's like you're not going to make any money in the deal. So what kind of, I guess, what business advice could you give a competitor on making a deal?
Know your worth. First, foremost, and always know your worth. When I see competitors or models in general, you post your photo on Instagram, you get 1,000 likes, and then I always come back to the same thing. Okay, how much money did you make off of that? How do you monetize that? Every photographer is wanting to shoot you and everything, and do this shoot and that shoot, but if you're not getting paid, then you need to know your worth. And they say, well, I'm not that experienced, and if I say this, nobody will want to shoot me. That's not true. That's not true. Be selfish to yourself, know your worth. It's like, hey, this is my cost. This is what I believe I'm worth. This is my line in the sand as far as what type of shoot. Because when I do a shoot, I shoot model's choice. And what that means is it's the model's choice. I don't go in thinking, oh, we're going to shoot this, we're going to shoot that. I can give you 1,000 ideas, but you know your brand, right? Once you put that photo out there, that's it. Everybody and mama going to see it. And so know your worth and what it's going to cost you. Because you want to do photo shoots that's going to get you sponsors, not lose sponsors. That's going to gather that big fish, such as a Titan Medical. And so, you just can't give yourself to everybody. I worked a long time out there, took a lot of hate, and I had to work my way up to the bottom where, hey, this guy's a good photographer. But more importantly, you want to be known as a great person. Because once you get that creeper mentality, right, put on you, you're in a word of mouth business as a photographer. So you got to be careful and make sure that you got, everything set up correctly, whether it's model releases, whether it's what type of images were promised, where the image is going to be seen at. If it's this type of shoot, if it is an implied nude, okay, what are they doing with those photos? And so you as a photographer, you as a model, need to ask those questions. And if you the answer's not right, you need to move on. I mean, here's my vision, right? So I've gotten to a level. And so you think, and they see Amazon's fitness magazine, and they see Teresa Moto on the cover, and they see Teresa Vancic on the cover, and they see Rashana Boswell on the cover. So now let's look ahead and let's envision the Olympia. Rashana walks in the locker room, and everybody said, "Hey, girl," this weekend, as she does Rising Phoenix, for example, right? So, "Hey, girl, I saw you on the cover of Amazon Fitness magazine. That Glenn Young, what's he about?" Now, word of mouth advertising. If I did something wrong, way out in left field, creepy, Rashana Boswell is going to call it out, right? So I don't need that. So I need her name, image, and likeness where everybody's going to want to shoot. Same thing. You skip ahead, you go to the Olympia. Teresa Vancic walks in the locker room, and Rashana's there. And I told them, boss, hey, I want y'all to have copies of the magazine in your bag, you know, reading it on the plane or whatever. And all the competitors asked them, and they said, hey, what's this guy about? You know, I want them to be able to say the right thing with confidence that, hey, yeah, he's a stand-up guy, great magazine, on the come up. You want to shoot with this guy. What you don't want to happen from any model, any competitor, say, hey, this guy's a creep. He tried to do this, he tried to do that, because you can't overcome that. So I wasn't really trying to ramble and go on, but
No, it's, I
the
think
main
it's
question, yeah, is
no,
what's
no.
worth?
I think it's great that you said that. I think it's great that you talked about knowing the worth, because that's important.
Right.
I also think it's important that you said about how you don't want to like shoot with everybody and for everything. You know, like a
Right.
lot of competitors will get free supplements.
Right.
That's nice, but you don't want to take a picture with that supplement, because then automatically everybody that sees that picture assumes you're a sponsored athlete. Now a company
Exactly. Not
that sponsors you is not going to sponsor you because you've watered down your worth,
exactly. And the
right?
thing about it, you need to understand that when you get approached to shoot from photographers, look at their work, look at their portfolio, who they're connected to. Do your own background check, okay? Because we're in a word of mouth business, so everybody knows everybody. And if there was a bad experience with a model, they're going to tell it. They're going to tell it. And so, oftentimes models will say, "Well, how do I get started?" When I say models, I'm talking about fashion, fitness, glamour, because I shoot them all. And it's like, okay, look at their work, know who you're shooting with, talk to another model that he shot or she has shot, and do your due diligence. Then step out there
Right.
and let the rest of it don't worry about it. It's your first shoot, you never had a shoot, you're aspiring model, intermediate model. You know, you gotta do your due diligence. Take you an escort, right? If a photographer tells you, if you say, is it okay if my boyfriend comes? And the photographer says, no, I just want you to come, that's a red flag, you know, or if they don't want anybody to come, that's a red flag. So
Yeah, and there's been a couple times during this interview already that you have kind of touched upon, you know, good business tactics that are
mm-hmm,
in question because of some things that are out in the news right now. And you're right. If husbands can't come, if boyfriends can't come, that's a red flag. If
mm-hmm,
the model doesn't know where the photos or videos are going to be used, that's a red flag.
right,
And if photos or videos are taken without the model even knowing,
mm-hmm,
that's illegal. I mean, that's not even a red flag. That's illegal. So there's a
right,
lot of things, but we're not going to go there because I mean, I just want to, I mean, unless you want
yeah,
to, but I want to really focus on the magazine. But um,
sure,
the other thing too, that I think is important about what you said also, really honestly, is knowing your photographer, like doing your homework on that, because everybody does homework like on the
right,
supplements you take, you know, the energy drinks, but seldom, if ever, do they do, you know, homework on the photographer. And I think
right,
like if they don't have a portfolio, if they don't have like some references,
mm-hmm. And it's important to note that everything that they're seeing with Amazon's fitness magazine now really started back in 2017 when I was shooting Sharonica Hinton. Okay, so
wow,
she
yeah,
educated me about the business and photography.
you know, I'm from Kentucky.
Yeah,
That Veronica's name here is like, I
yep,
mean, like
that's
it.
how I got started. And I got her to come to North Carolina, and I basically got to hang out with her for about 2 years, going to her competitions, photographing her, rode to the Olympia, the whole deal. And so without Sharonica Hinton, I wouldn't know who Teresa Mota was. I wouldn't know who Heather Grace was, Brooke Walker. And
Wow.
that's why I really got a soft spot for women's physique division, because that was my education, Sharonica Hinton.
Swole Queen is in here, and she's got a just an amazing physique.
I've
Absolutely
talked
amazing.
to her. I've talked
Yeah,
to her, trying to set it up. Trying
yeah.
to set it up. You know, a lot of these girls in Florida, man, I'm like, man, doggone, they need
Plus
to get
warm
something
there.
by
That's
effort.
where I want to be. But
So,
tell us a little bit about. I want to go back to Teresa Ivanchuk just for a second.
mm-hmm,
Um, I think that's like probably like the jackpot, right? Where you've got great physique and great personality. Because I'm sure
mm-hmm.
they're often not. You know, a lot of times, you know, you're not going to meet someone with a great physique and a great personality. It's either
No,
or.
they no match. And the thing about it, she was the one that really put it on the map. I was talking to her and Rashana really at the same time back in May before the Pittsburgh Pro. And I was supposed to go to the Pittsburgh Pro because Teresa was getting ready for the Indy Pro, and I was going to try to shoot it in. My back went out, you know,
Mm.
I had a broken back when I was in the military, so every time I get a flare up, so I wasn't able to make the trip. So I was like, man, I guess that's not gonna happen. Then when she was getting interviewed with Female Bodybuilding Channel, and she mentioned, I got a couple of shoots coming up. I'm gonna shoot with this new guy, Amazon Fitness magazine for the cover it. And I was like, whoa. I mean, and she had never met me other than talk to her back and forth social media. Obviously, she knew my photography and knew a little bit of my background. But when she stepped out there, as I said, name, image, and likeness, and she did that, everybody's like, whoa. And
Yeah.
then like it all starts with one. Doesn't matter, people don't know how many no's I got. And how many DMs didn't get answered, how many emails didn't get answered. But when she answered that and we did the shoot, and then at the same time, Rashana Boswell said yes at the same time. So then I had two. So I was like, I was walking around with my chest out like, yeah, all right, let's get this. And so
For
I'm forever thankful for them for doing that. And like I said, name, image, and likeness, they stepped out there. And there you go. And Teresa wrote an article for the magazine as well. She talked about her whole background, how she got started, her struggles with her diet and stuff. I think she was bulimic. She told her whole backstory, and that was critical. So it wasn't just a photo shoot. And then, of course, she did the interview with me for the YouTube channel as well. And like you said, a lot of times you see the person doesn't match the personality, but I can tell you that Teresa Avancic, is very genuine. She's been competing almost 15 years. So that's a wealth of knowledge as well. So yeah, it was a paid shoot, but it was like, you could look at it like a consulting fee too, because I was able to ask questions. She was able to answer, and she's like, well, do this, do that, you know. So genuine person all around. So
definitely.
can't say
So
nothing about it.
right. So Glenn, have you ever worked with during your time as a photographer? Have you ever worked with a born natural where you almost didn't have to do anything, just shoot?
Well, it's all about chemistry. You can't
Mm.
really say a born natural. You can say like with Sarah Quambar. I knew, she may not have had the confidence in herself. And like when she was like, oh, you don't have any idea what you have. And then once the photos got out there and people gained confidence and we built the chemistry. Like I said, we shot this September, knowing and shooting Sarah 2 years. 2 years. So it wasn't just one shoot. We built the chemistry over a year, and she just skyrocketed.
And you told me she's a twin, right? I didn't know that.
Oh yes, that's such a sore spot with me. Sarah, what people don't know, is a twin, and her twin sister. And I was like, oh man, I got to make this shoot happen. And I so had hoped that her sister was going to compete. And I used to talk to her about it all the time. She would win, and I talked to her. She doesn't want to do it. She doesn't want to compete. I even told her I could coach her. We wear the same size suit. I mean, can you imagine that?
Right.
I mean, Titan Medical doesn't understand. There's two of them out there, and
For,
sister's here in North Carolina, so I'm still
for
holding
sure.
out hope.
For
So,
sure.
so
And
you never know.
Kim Fit Haynes is in the house, and she did a lot of photography. I believe she worked only, well, not only, I think she worked with several photographers, but I think like 95% of the work she did was with one, I think Rob Sims, right, Kim? And I think that's interesting also because, sometimes, a model or competitor slash model will usually want to work with just one photographer. Is
There
that?
is there is no greater compliment to get that from a competitor, and I got it from Sharonica Hinton. And
Hmm.
we're at the Charlotte Europa, and she did an interview and said, "Yeah, my photographer is here," or she's around other competitors. Say, "This is my photographer." When you hear that, that's huge because that's a heavy endorsement to say this is my photographer. Now the thing about, I'll tell you a funny story. When we went to the Arnold's, and I was there shooting Sharonica, followed her to the show, and I'm sitting there beside her, and I turned and looked. I said, "Oh, Heather Grace," and I hear,
Oh, wow.
and it was like her eyes. I could feel them on the back of my neck. He does. Oh, damn, should have said that. But I was such a fan, of all of them. Like I said, women's physique. And so, when I'm with her, when I was with her shooting at her show or anything, it was all about her. So despite all the other competitors, I was like, man, I would really, my focus was her. And so, like I said, I got to hang out with her about 2 years, follow her through prep shows, and you build up a chemistry. And you learn a lot. Like I said, she was my education as far as women's competitive bodybuilding.
Right. Well, like Kim
But yeah,
said,
that's huge. I mean, some of them, they just want that photographer. They want that love. They trust that
yeah.
photographer. It's chemistry. It's not personal. Just, hey, that's my guy, and
Right.
that's the guy that's going to take me to the next level.
Yeah, like Kim says, she worked with Rob Sims for 10 years. So that
Yeah,
was like, her guy.
amazing.
And like you said, like when I asked you about the born natural question, you said there's got to be a chemistry there.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think with her and Rob and with you and Sharonica, like there's a chemistry, then there's the quality of work, and
Mm-hmm.
it just go from there, and it's
It's a
just,
split, and then the thing about it with a lot of the female bodybuilders, I was talking to a friend recently, and I said, I got to step out my own arrogance. Just because I got a magazine doesn't mean that they want to be in it. I got to step back up a level. And it's like so. I'm so glad you finally said that, because I was thinking I was going to tell you. And I sort of had to laugh. And so the thing about, you got a magazine, but do they want to be in it?
right.
And you got to understand, with a lot of these competitors, especially women bodybuilders, there's no trust, because they've been done so wrong by so many people. They're
Right.
out, they go in the store and they're talked about and this, and I get it as a photographer. I'm in Walmart one time, and I hear this voice behind me say, "Hey, you still shooting those women?" And then I turn around and say, "Oh, yes, Pastor, I am." And then he turned around for his soup kitchen. He said, "Hey, can you get a donation?" But it's that stuff too. So I get it as a photographer as well. So
That's crazy. But I got to say, Swole Queen is just amazing, great physique. Her husband's an amazing coach. I mean, there's a bodybuilding power couple, but
yeah, I believe she's in Florida. I was trying to get to. She was going to be in Savannah. I think this is the same
oh, and a
competitor, but I
beautiful.
couldn't make it to Savannah because my truck went out for the transmission. But anyway.
You put a lot of miles on that thing, though, right? I mean,
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing about it, until I don't really like to fly, and
Mhm.
like when I drive, I know I can take all the equipment for every situation that they could come up with, a studio or on location. So, yeah.
But one last thing before we wrap up, if possible, because I do want to do maybe like 3 more of these, or maybe one a month. I actually want to
Mhm.
do one a month with you, if that's cool.
Right.
And have
Yeah,
some.
sure.
We could do
It's all
4.
about promoting the magazine, and let's get it going.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Like the Amazon Fit Mag Hour or the Amazon Fit Hour or whatever you want to call
Sure.
it. But we can do it, and we can have like 2 other guests with us, so
Mm-hmm.
we can make this a 4 screen.
Well,
And I think that'd be awesome. But the last question, Glenn,
mhm.
honestly, is about the ladies being done wrong, and especially muscular women, because for I don't know what, like 5, 6, 7 years there in the 2010s, we heard about how nobody wanted to see muscular women, and women's bodybuilding was going away, and
Mhm.
even Carrillo, I'm sorry, Bob, but you were making a lot of jokes, and now you're the biggest fan. But the thing is, it really wasn't marketed properly, because I remember the muscle pinups booth at the Arnold Classic, and there was like every year a line 4 blocks long, and it wasn't just schmoey guys that they like to make the jokes. It was some jacked bodybuilders.
Mhm.
Muscular women have always been popular. They just weren't marketed right. But I can see why during those years they probably got a lot of bum deals.
Yeah. I mean, not since really Bill Dobbins were they real popular, in the muscle pinup. And when you look at it, it is a niche or niche or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Women's bodybuilding is a niche, but there is a market out there for it, because I've seen it. And when I started the magazine, the biggest thing about it was I was hearing nobody's going to come to see him at a show. Nobody wants to see that. They look like a man, on and on and in and on. And I basically just took that and I said, okay, that's my mission statement. And
Right.
so when you look at it, the primary person I'm looking for to be on the cover is a women's bodybuilder or women's physique. And up until this last cover in November, I put a wellness pro on the cover, a young lady which I sponsor, Melissa Guerrero. So I mean, if you're not going to put the athlete that you sponsor on the cover, then hey.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't have been on the cover if I didn't get a cancellation from Sheena Oli. But
Hmm.
logistics didn't work out. But yeah, so hopefully that'll still come back.
Fate. That's how fate works sometimes.
Yeah. So.
Tim says there's a huge market for it, and
Mm-hmm.
like I told you like before, and nothing you don't already know, but the wellness competitors quad wise can
Oh
really.
my God, I think wellness is going to surpass bikini,
Oh yeah.
possibly. I mean,
No, I think it will,
yeah,
and if it doesn't, it's only because it's a physique that you can't just walk into. You got to grow into it. But I think a
right.
lot of people want to have that. Most people.
Now, if you look at all the categories, though, women's bodybuilding has everything. Wellness and bikini, they got one shot, 180 and face the wall, and then they're
Right.
done. Okay, what else you got?
Right.
When you look at women's physique, and they hit their poses, and they hit that abdominals and thighs, and you hear that hiss. I call it the women's physique hiss. Now you got to be close to the stage to hear it, and they hit that hiss, it's amazing. But then comes women's bodybuilding. You got quads, you got double arm bi, you got the back, you got the lats, you got everything. You know, it's like every division is building up to women's bodybuilding, and they got everything. So the biggest thing, they go back: muscularity versus femininity, mass versus conditioning. You know, all of them look good to me because I'm a photographer. I'm the quintessential, uh, you know, trophy. You know, that trophy that gives to everybody, the participation trophy. That's me, photographer, because I got one job:
Right.
capture that physique they've been working so hard their ass off for the last 20 weeks, and you can't mess that up as a photographer. You can't. And you capture that moment, that's an indelible mark on memory they'll have forever of their physique.
Absolutely.
So
Got to put that beautifully, beautifully. And maybe like in future episodes, we got to come up with a name, but maybe in future episodes we can talk about the whole femininity thing, because I think it's really a bunch of bullshit, honestly. Because I mean, you know, nobody's gonna look feminine, I don't think, or masculine, whatever, when you're at 3% body fat and you've got the death face on. But the next day, everybody looks the way they look normally. You know what I mean? So I think it's a kind of a, I don't know, it's my personal opinion. I think it's kind of,
they have a big market, but all these guys are in the closet because they will, if they come out and support female bodybuilders, you know, they get shamed, and so it ain't worth that. But I'm telling you,
so
they got a following and they got fans. So I gotta get hit up about it every day. And let me give a shout out, man. So
please.
I've been talking about sponsors. Obviously, I sponsor Strength Addicts. I sponsor Female Bodybuilding Channel. Melissa Guerrero, Wellness Pro, that I sponsor. Teresa Moto, Women's Physique Pro, that I sponsor. Erica Lopez, Wellness Competitor, I sponsor. Lexi Grace, she is in Saudi Arabia. She's deployed military, so she didn't get a chance to do her show. I want to give her a shout out. Obviously, Teresa Vancic, Rashana Boswell, for their name, image, and likeness on the last few covers. But also to Phase Up Nutrition, against all odds, phaseupnutrition.com. Vincenzo Yocolano, he is actually a sponsor of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. So I do have a sponsor, despite all the people that I've sponsored. So if they want to get it going, they being the people out there, get the magazine going. Yeah, I'm looking for sponsors. I'm looking for contributors. I'm looking for photographers that want to submit their work, because all this is, you know, it ain't cheap. And when you talk about, one of the things I want to lead this last point, when you talk about cost to compete, you know, I've been with it through competitors, like I said, Sharonica Hinton, over a 2-year period. Now watch what it takes for them, the cost. We talk about the show fees, the pro card, the hotel, you know, getting there. And then, of course, the diet. You know, you talking about anywhere from $250 to $350 a month, sometimes every 2 weeks, $200, you know, and on chicken and all this other stuff. So I mean, the cost to compete is significant. So when people say, I don't know if I can sponsor an athlete, yes, you can. You can do something very simple, like contact the show photographer, right? And you can say, hey, this competitor is competing at this show. I want to gift her stage shots. Now, those stage shots go straight to the competitor. And this is something I've done too. Those shots go straight to the competitor, and they show up to the show. And the photographer, you can imagine how it goes over when the show photographer says, hey, your shots are free. Your photos are free. Someone sponsored you for them. Now, and given if you get out there early, most show photographers,
With a little bit of a, I think we lost the sound there. He might have gotten a call. There you,
yeah,
you're back.
well, I had to hook up my battery, but I was just gonna say,
It's okay.
it's the
It's
little
okay.
things you can
We
do.
edit it out. That's the beauty
Yeah,
of so.
it's the little things you can do to sponsor, you know. And then
I've
when you
never
look
heard
at
that before. That sounds like an amazing thing to
yeah,
do.
and the pro card, that's $250. It's the little things that you can do to sponsor an athlete. You know, I just didn't start sponsoring athletes overnight. I did it in Peace Mart, and it had to build it up to try to cover those expenses. So yeah, shout out to Phase Up Nutrition, and yeah, Female Bodybuilding Channel, and of course you. And let's keep this going.
Definitely, definitely. And let's try to do. Let's talk about doing a little show or something. I say little, but it'll be. I don't dream little. I dream big. But let's talk about a name and when we're gonna do it. It'd be great if we could do it like kind of time it like maybe like a week before or the drop date of a new edition, or we'll talk about it. But I think it'd
Yeah.
be
Well, right now I'm currently shooting for the January issue, so that's next. And I was going to try to do something special for Christmas, or December, but we'll see.
okay.
But yeah.
Awesome. Well, Glenn, thank you so much for taking the time. I appreciate it. I know I said we'd do like half an hour. I can't talk to you for half an hour. It's
Hey,
impossible.
it's all good, man. As long as it
Awesome.
helps the competitors, because that's really what it's about, is a platform for them to talk, the magazine. So it's just not just about me. Also, Marianne Wachowski, she's a contributor. Um, Andrea Sauer, Rip Vixen, she's a contributor. They write articles for the magazine. So don't want to forget them either. So, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of people that bring this thing together that I'm thankful for, that have put their stamp on it. And so that's got to continue. If these girls, these competitors want to shoot, all you got to do is contact me and let me know. I'm on my way to Pittsburgh next Friday in Butler, Pennsylvania. I think you know who's there. And then I'll make my way back, do some shoots, and then I'm off to Orlando at the end of the month, first 3 days of December. I'm actually going to leave on the 30th, but I'll be there up until the 5th and make my way back for the National. So that's a great show if you've never been there. I mean, it's huge. So many girls. Carolina Garcia. This was a wellness girl that got her pro card when I was there last year. So, yeah, there was so many of them. And, of course, Sarah Quambar, I saw her last year. Nikki Politi. I mean, there's so many, man, that's out there. But, yeah, shout out to Titan Medical again. You're welcome, Sarah Quambar. Hey, that's my heart, so do it right.
For sure, for sure. Well, thank you very, very much. We're going to do this again soon, hopefully on a monthly basis with a couple other guests, and it'll be fantastic of your choosing. Thank you again for sponsoring Strength Addicts. I hope it's a beautiful long-term relationship, and it pays up nutrition. I think I'm going to look at them because I think they've looked at posts, and maybe I'll do an interview with them as well.
Oh, yeah, Vincenzo O'Connell, yeah, and he's a veteran too.
Cool.
He's a Marine, but I forgive him for that. But yeah, great guy, and he was one of the first sponsors to step say, "Man, I'm gonna sponsor the magazine." So yeah,
very cool, very cool. So again, thank you very much for Glenn Young. This is Christian Duke, StrengthAddicts.com. Thank you.
Talk soon.